Hello, this is Deborah Anderson, the Black Woman Animator, coming back to you with another video. And this video is tips for when you speak to kids in schools. Whether it's something you're passionate about or something you got roped into doing by a friend or family member, at some point you may be asked to speak at a school about what you do at your job. This is going to be specific to art and animation related careers. First is structure. If you have an hour, you can do a presentation with a question and answer portion at the end. If you have an hour and a half, you can do a quick presentation and a hands-on activity so the kids have something to take away. Next is content. One thing you want to have is a wow factor. Be as interesting as possible and talk about the impressive things you've done. Even though I worked on Family Guy over 10 years ago, I still mention it because I'm trying to grab people's attention and make them want to listen to me. You're going to want to simplify your language. No matter what age you're talking to, stay away from industry terms. And if you have to use industry terms, try explaining them using plain language and analogies. In your presentation, try to use pictures and videos to grab their attention and use as few words as possible. You're also going to try to have visuals and props. For me, I have a maquette that I can use if I'm explaining stop motion animation. So this is my old maquette, or I can use a newer version that I have, my Sticky Bones. I also have a book that I publish that I can pass around to keep the students' interest. If you're able to do a hands-on activity, make sure that it's simple as possible. You want to ensure that every student is able to make something cool that they can take home and show their parents. Even though I'm in 3D, my hands-on activity is rarely 3D related unless the school has some computers that they can have me use to teach the students 3D. My go-to hands-on activity is a thaumatrope. So I usually get these cardboard circles, and I have some cutouts that they can use, and then I buy some wooden dowels that they can tape to this, and then they can roll it back and forth and see the illusion. You might want to teach them about persistence of vision that allows thaumatropes to work. So they put this fishbowl on one side, they put the fish on another side, and when you twist it, it looks like the fish is in the fishbowl. And then I have the rocket with the smoke, and I have some other images. Or they can create their own image if they can think of it. Once you get into the older demographic, you can possibly use Post-it notes to do flip books. And you would want to start from the back so that when they're able to flip through the flip book, it'll be easier as opposed to going from the front. And some students may surprise you with how quickly they're able to learn and do a flip book. I've seen some impressive things. You have to make sure to teach them how the process of doing a flip book. I usually go with the bouncing ball and possibly teach them about squash and stretch. So telling them how they can start the ball on one side, little by little go to the other side. And another reason that you can start from the back is because you can use onion skidding or whatever the old school term is so that they can see through the paper so they can more accurately do their animations. You're going to want to pick a presentation flow that works for you. People have a lot of questions about animation, whether they're 5 or 45. Establish your rules at the onset and stay consistent with them throughout your presentation. If you're okay with people asking you questions during your presentation, let them know that. For me, it doesn't throw me off if a kid raises their hand and asks a question. I can easily get back to my presentation and keep it moving. I also have the wherewithal and the awareness to be able to move quickly and edit down my presentation if there are a lot of questions that are being asked. For me, people's inquisitiveness and interest is more important than what I'm saying because most of my presentations are about exposure. I am educating people, but there is no test, so getting through all my slides is not necessary. If you're not comfortable with people asking questions throughout your presentation, Let the audience know to write down their questions and you'll take them at the end. If there is a student that raises their hand to ask a question in the middle of your presentation, just remind them to remember it or write it down, and then you'll take it later. Next is a question and answer section hack. Depending on the age and confidence of your audience, when you get to the question and answer section, they either can't think of a question or they're too afraid to be the first one to ask a question. Something that I started doing is typing up a bunch of questions that allow me to share my life and journey and giving those to the teacher. I prep the teacher and let them know when we get to the Q&A section, if no one has a question to ask, they can use the sheet, and that usually gets the ball rolling. This also helps in situations where, depending on what they're asking me to come talk about, there may be some questions that students may not think to ask me. For example, your average American has not moved to a foreign Asian country and worked on famous TV shows, so they would not know to ask me those questions. Another way you could present this is you can cut them up into strips of paper and pass them out to the students, or you can put them in a bowl and draw the questions one by one. Lastly is contact information. If it's okay, you can put a slide at the end of your presentation with your contact information, and this can be used for if you didn't get to a particular person's question or they think of a question later. Additionally, I give them an option of giving the question to their teacher and having the teacher reach out to me. That's about all I have for the tips. If you have any additional tips that you can give people about presenting to schools, please leave them in the comments. Please like, comment, subscribe, sign up for post notifications. Please share this video, and I will see you in the next video.